Yo, what is up, boys? Partywaffles here, and today I'm making you guys the 11.2 The War Within Season 3 Frosty K PvP guide. I'm going to get this out now so that you guys know how to succeed. You can get all the rating you want to get the glad, get the new mount, get all the elite sets, everything you want. Let's get right into it, okay? So I'm going to tell you everything you need to know here, from the spec to damage to everything like that. So let's jump right into the spec first, okay? So first of all, on the left side, not much has changed if you played any of the rest of the expansion. We don't have A-Bomb Limb anymore, which it's okay though. We'll be fine without it. But yeah, that's basically the only difference. So originally I didn't have Anti-Magic Zone in my talents, but on the upcoming Tuesday, Zone is actually getting buffed back to 30% from 15%. So I'm anticipating that change coming on Tuesday, and I'm going to put the point into this, I think, now with the buff, okay? So that's why the point is now in Zone on this spec. Some of these on the left side, you could juggle around kind of however you like, but this is kind of the left side that I prefer. And then I'm going to be playing Riders of the Apocalypse for this build. Again, especially because Reaper's Mark, or the other hero talent there, is actually getting nerfed on Tuesday as well. So we're going to be playing Riders of the Apocalypse. And then on the right side, it's going to be very similar to the last season. This is going to be a dual wield Shattering Frost build again, okay? Or sorry, Shattering Blade. So you're basically just going to get 5 stacked Frost Strikes, and you're going to shatter them for big damage. And that's kind of like the main meat and potatoes of the build. And then, of course, you have your other globals, right? Your Howling Blast, your Obliterate. And then we're also going to have Breath of Cindergosa. So this build's going to have Pillar. It's going to have your Dragon Stun. It's going to have all the normal stuff. Basically the same as last season, more or less. But now we have Breath as well on top of it. So, yeah. As for PvP talents, it's going to be like this, okay? You're more or less going to always have Strangulate equipped, basically, unless maybe you're in a solo shuffle or something with like a Shadow Priest or something that already has a silence, and then maybe you don't need it. But more or less, you're going to always have Strangulate because you already have this as your stun. Your second talents are basically going to be flex talents, so I'll tell you what's good and when. Death Chill is nice if you want to root like a bunch of, say, like a BM Hunter's pets, root the pets a bunch or something like that. Delirium is nice for like mages, warlocks, anything with a lot of mobility, because the Delirium is going to cut down their mobility. It's good for evokers, anything like that. Shroud, I personally never play Shroud right now. Dark Sim, it's nice if you want to like steal some crowd control or something like that, right? If you want to try to make a play, a game-winning play, that's a good talent for that. Bitter Chill is decent just to slow down their haste. But mainly, the main ones that I'm going to be using out of here usually are going to be either Spell Warden to anti-magic shell my teammates, or for myself more frequently, or Bloodforged Armor to tank out physical damage. Those are going to be the main ones. And then, of course, you have Death's Cold Embrace. Me, personally, I don't really play Death's Cold Embrace much, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't or can't, right? It's a really good talent. You can play it in some matchups where you know they're not going to get out of it. You can definitely get a lot of value from it. So you can play that if you want. I see a lot of people play it. You don't have to, but you can. So if you enjoy it. Yeah, so that's basically the talents and the PvP talents there. So the next thing we're going to talk about here briefly is just gear, your tier sets, everything like that. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so for Frost, we're going to be playing the 4 set of tier, all right? See this tier set that we're looking at right here? We're going to use 4 pieces of it so that we get the set effect, okay? Because it's good. So the piece that we're not going to be using is the helm, because it has 1500 crit. So we're going to use full tier other than the helmet, okay? So the first thing you're going to be doing this week, well, I guess by the time you see this, it might be the second week, but you're going to be just prioritizing buying those tier pieces that I just showed you with your conquest, okay? And then with the world PvP stuff that you get with bloody tokens, you're just going to get all your off pieces with, basically, until you can replace them with conquest. And then with your crafted items, the first week, you're going to get your necklace and your double rings, okay? You're going to craft those with Verse Mastery if you're going to be playing Frost. So that's all the items you're going to be getting. And then of course, your Rishari wraps. You're going to use the cloak, the Rishari wraps. And then as far as trinket goes, we're just going to be using the proc trinket. So the stats that you want to get for Frost, don't really look at my stats because I'm playing Unholy. I haven't itemized them yet for Frost. But for for Frost, we're going to be going Verse Mastery, okay? Versatility and Mastery, the highest stats we want. Verse Mastery. You could go no haste. You could go a little bit of haste to make your globals feel better, but that's up to you. But the main thing you're going to want is Mastery and Versatility for Frost. As far as your weapons go, you're going to be dual wielding with this build, okay? And you're going to want Rune of Razor Ice on one weapon and Rune of Fallen Crusader on the other. Because what's going to happen is when you're hitting stuff, you're going to be getting Razor Ice stacks, right? So you're going to be getting these Razor Ice stacks a couple different ways when you're hitting things, right? You're going to be getting them from your Razor Ice on your weapon, and you're also going to be getting them from your Arctic Assault. So every time you use a Killing Machines proc, which is when your Obliterate lights up, it's going to shoot a Glacial Advance, which is going to give you 1 stack. So, and you also have Avalanche. So you have a couple different ways of acquiring stacks, basically. You could switch Avalanche if you wanted over to Interaxial Assault. But yeah, this is just kind of the baseline talents that I'm using right now. So that's that. That's the talents. That's the gear. That's the stats. I'm going to quickly run through all of the enchants for you. So on Cloak, you're going to want, for some reason, I don't have this enchanted yet, but we're just going to put Speed on Cloak. We're going to put Crystalline Radiance on Chest. We're going to put Speed on Bracers, and then Rune of Razor Ice and Fallen Crusader on our weapon. And then on the legs, we're going to put the 930 Strength, 895 Stamina. Scout's March on Boots. And then I went for Curse Mastery in my rings. And yeah, and as far as embellishments go, I'm playing these embellishments. It's called Focusing Lens is the item that you buy off the auction house. But it makes it so your gems deal damage, basically. So that's all the gearing we're doing there, basically. So remember your stats. Versatility, Mastery, Haste, okay? That's what you want. So that covers the stats, that covers the tier, enchants, everything like that. So then the next thing we need to worry about is I'm going to tell you guys how to just do damage, okay? I'll tell you how to do damage, and then I'll go over kind of like a bursting situation for your damage. So basically damage is going to be like this. At the core level, it's just going to be simple like this. You're going to basically have your disease on the target, which is Frost Fever, which you're going to apply from Howling Blast. And then you're basically only going to press Howling Blast, A, to apply your dot, or B, if it lights up, okay? So those are the only times you're going to be pressing Howling Blast. To apply your dot, or if it lights up. Or to apply your Delirium if you're playing Delirium. But you could apply the Delirium and apply your dot at the same time. Okay, so that's all we're using Howling Blast for. The next button we have then is Obliterate, okay? So Obliterate, if Howling Blast is just our dot and our disease, Obliterate is basically our builder, okay? Obliterate is our runic power builder, and then Frost Strike is our spender. So it's very simple, okay? At a basic level, it's very simple. Last season, Death and Decay, if we dropped it under, it would make our Obliterate hit all the targets. It no longer does that, okay? So the depth of the spec has been removed. It no longer does that. You can't cleave Obliterates. So literally all it is just Howling Blast for your disease, or if it lights up, Obliterate to build runic power, and then Frost Strike. Whenever you see this Razor Ice at 5 stacks, you want to Frost Strike and break it, okay? So the main thing you're trying to do is basically, press the button that lights up, and then you're trying to build up your runic power, and you want to have your runic power line up with when you have 5 stacks of Razor Ice, ideally. See, so I have 5 stacks, boom, I press it, Obliterate 1 time, back to 5 stacks, and I have the runic power to press it again, right? So you basically want to press as many Frost Strikes on 5 stacks as you can over the course of the game, because those are going to be your big damage. So that's your 3-button rotation, right there, those 3 buttons. Now, the only new thing here, again, they got rid of Death and Decay, so you don't need to press Death and Decay at all for this. The only reason you're pressing Death and Decay now is basically as a slow, okay? You're not pressing it for any cleave or any haste or anything like that. Only as a slow, or to pull people out of stealth or something like that. So you got those 3 buttons down there. Dot, Builder, Spender, right? And then the new thing that we have here is Empowered Rune Weapon. So let me show you what is cool about Empowered Rune Weapon though. So watch right now, okay? I have a 5 stack on this guy. I dot him. I burst the 5 stack with Frost Strike, right? I Obliterate. I burst the next stack with Frost Strike. I Obliterate. But wait, I Frost Strike here, right? But then I Obliterate, and then look, okay, so we're at 5. This is a situation that can happen. I'm at 5 stacks. I don't have the runic power to Frost Strike. So what you can do there is you could just Remorseless Winter, and then all of a sudden you have the Frost Strike, and you get a critical strike Obliterate when you press the Remorseless Winter. Or sorry, not Remorseless Winter, Empowered Rune Weapon, right? So that's a nice way to use Empowered Rune Weapon to help you get extra Frost Strike shatters when you didn't have it. Like right here again, look, it's got 5 stacks. I don't have the runic power. So I would either have to use a Howling Blast or an Obliterate and use my runes, and then it's not going to be as smooth, right? But I could just Empower Rune Weapon, boom, Frost Strike, it's gone, and I get a crit. And I press the light up buttons, and then I Frost Strike. See right here, I have a 5-stack Frost Strike or an Obliterate crit. I want to prioritize the Frost Strike and then press the Obliterate after, okay? So I want you to prioritize, if you have Runic Power and they have 5 stacks on them, I want you to prioritize the 5-stack Frost Strike. And then that's what you're trying to do. That's the mini game. You're playing the whole game. You're trying to get 5-stack Frost Strike, 5-stack Razor Ice, and Frost Strike it. That's basically the mini game you're playing. Okay? So that's how you do damage. Okay? Just like generic default damage. That's it right there. But how we burst is a little different here. So we have Breath of Sindragosa now as this build, okay? We have Breath of Sindragosa, and we have Pillar, and we have Dragon. So you know your normal damage rotation. This is going to be your opener rotation, okay? In the opener, when you have your AoE stun, you want to try to like get people together for it and try to, you know, get them in, Dragon, stun them all, and you cleave them down, right? So in a situation, it'll look kind of like this. Say this is the DPS here. Say this monstrosity is, this is the healer, okay? This monstrosity is their healer, and this is their DPS that I'm fighting right here. What I want to do in the opener, pretty much every single opener of every game, is I want to get the healer more or less gripped, unless my teammates go and crowd control the healer for me, in which case I'll just send it on the DPS and not worry about it. But as a rule of thumb, you generally will want to grip this guy, right? So I can't grip him because it just doesn't work here. But I death grip this guy over on top of these guys, and then I can either blind them, and then I can just Pillar of Frost Dragon and do my combo, or I can just grip this guy in and just straight dragon them and not even use the blind for it. And use the blind as just defensively or something like that, right? I don't necessarily need to blind stun. I could just grip stun. But yeah, you can do it either way. But the gist of it is you want to get them together and get them stacked up, and then you want to send your dragon, right? So in a perfect world, it's going to look like this. We grip this guy in. On top of these guys, I'm going to Pillar of Frost Dragon. Once the dragon stun is about to wear off, I'm going to silence the healer on top of the stun. Not after the stun ends and leave a gap, right? I'm going to silence him on top of the stun. So it would look like this, right? So pretend like they're all stacked in this monstrosity. So I send my CDs, blah, blah, blah. I'm popping off, I'm doing my thing. And then I silence the guy on top of the stun. I guess you couldn't really see it, but yes. So it's like, say the stun is at 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. I say at 1 second, I'll throw the silence up. I don't want to leave a gap that allows the healer to press a CD, right? We want the healer to have to trinket if he wants to press anything, which leaves him susceptible to dying the next time. So that's the main burst, okay? Get them together and do that. But then in terms of like the actual burst rotation, so we have Breath of Sindragosa now. So if you want to have like a nice smooth, say you want to just go in there and you want to go right away. Like say right, as I'm running at these guys, I want to like build my runic power, and then the second I connect to him, I grip this guy on, stun, do my go, right? With 0 delay, 0 downtime or anything. So pretend like this is the opener. So let me just use up my runic power. Anyway, so we have, pretend that we have no runic power right now. If you have no runic power and you want to go in, Breath of Sindragosa costs 60 runic power, okay? When you press breath, it's going to give you a charge of empowered rune weapon. So what's going to happen here is Howling Blast is going to give us 10 runic power. Death and Decay or Chains of Ice is going to give us another 10. So if we want to get 60 runic power, get to 60 runic power the second we make it to this guy, so that we can grip stun them and go right away with Breath of Sindragosa. This is going to be a perfect rotation, okay? So I'll show you right now. Okay, so we need 60 runic power. So all that's going to be is Howling Blast, Death and Decay. So Death and Decay, when I say this, I'm talking as a slow, right? Because it's going to be an AoE slow because of this. So we can either Death and Decay or Chains of Ice for the slow. But I'm going to go in there, Howling Blast first global, use a slow, and then press 1 charge of empowered rune weapon, and I'm going to have 60 runic power, and then I'm going to instantly start going. So you'll see. So it's going to look like this. So Howling Blast, Chains of Ice, empowered rune weapon, we send the dragon, and then the Breath of Sindragosa is going, and then naturally you just do your normal rotation here, right? Like explode the 5-stack Frost Strikes like I was telling you, press the buttons to light up, prioritize the Frost Strike, the 5-stack Frost Strike, and that's basically it. The only other mechanic that you need to think about during your pillar is this, okay? This one right here. So Obliteration, every time during your Pillar of Frost, anytime you press Frost Strike or Howling Blast, it's going to make your next Obliterate be a critical strike, okay? So you can be like, just try to, like I said, prioritize the 5 stack of Razorized Frost Strike, and then press the button that's lit up other than that. So that's your priority. 5 stack Frost Strike, lit up button. There you go. And then just try to weave in your Empower Rune weapons however you like them, right? You can use them outside of your go to like bait a cooldown, right? Because you can get big Frost Strikes on people with them. You can use them at the start to, like I just showed you there, to get your Breath of Sindragosa instantly the second you connect. You can use it in the go after you start the breath. You can use it again to get fast Frost Strikes, right? You can kind of just use it wherever you find convenient. But that's pretty much the gist of it, how I just explained to you there. After that first go where you don't have Dragon, you're not so worried about gripping them together anymore, okay? You're not really the most worried about gripping them together. You can kind of just go single target on people, do whatever you got to do. But, yeah. So in the first go, when you have your Dragon and everything, you want to just go in there and just get them together, do a massive go on everybody, and then whoever presses defensives is basically who you're going to kill the next time, okay? You want to play off the defensives that you get from that massive go in the opener. And that's basically the gist of Frost, guys. That's it right there. So you got your burst rotation, you got your go in there and instantly want a breath rotation, you got your normal just damage, like dot, builder, spender, you know what I mean? You got it all. But again, I'll show you that remorseless, or I'll show you that insta Breath of Sindragosa rotation one more time. So again, while you're running at them, dot them, slow them with Death and Decay, and then you can press one charge of your thing. Boom, you're at 60 runic power, and then all of a sudden you can just pillar breath dragon, or sorry, you can dragon pillar. You want to do the pillar and the dragon at like the exact same time because it's off the GCD, and then you want to breath immediately after, and then just start, you know, maximizing your Frost Strikes again, maximizing your Frost Strikes, and continue. Rinse and repeat. And that's basically it, right? So once you do that a bunch of times, it's going to become muscle memory and you're going to get it down. People are going to try to avoid you and avoid your go, and you're going to find ways to still finesse it. And yeah, it's going to be much nicer. You have a lot of single target damage too. So comps that are kind of good with this, chat, it's going to be like Marksman, Hunter, DK, DH, DK. Things of that nature are really good right now. But I think that's pretty much it. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. If I am forgetting anything, let me know in the comments below and I'll help you guys out. If you want to catch me play this live, twitch.tv/PartywafflesX. I stream there 5 days a week for the last 5 years straight. No breaks. So come on down, give it a follow, come hang out with us. And you can see me do this live. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. We're going to make a new tier list soon, chat. A solidified tier list for this season, because we made the tier list, the predictive tier list, and we're going to see how accurate it was, which surprisingly was actually pretty accurate considering it was guessing. But yeah, so all right, see you guys the next time. Peace out, everybody. Have a great day.